My name is Nate Hultman. I'm the director for the Center for Global Sustainability at the University of Maryland and a non-resident senior fellow at the Brookings Institution. I work on energy and climate policy both at the international and domestic level. So the Clean Power Plan was one of the key elements of the Obama administration's overall approach to driving down American emissions that lead to climate change. The electricity sector produces something like 30% of America's overall greenhouse gas emissions, and the Clean Power Plan aimed to reduce those emissions by roughly 32% by 2030. So by dismantling the CPP, there are implications in a number of areas for the American economy, for jobs, for human health, and for the environment. On the economy front, by changing the Clean Power Plan, by removing the Clean Power Plan, we're choosing to take a different path toward an energy future. The energy future that we're choosing is one that's more favoring of coal and fossil fuel jobs at the expense of clean energy jobs. Recent Department of Energy statistics showed that there are roughly 3 million jobs in the United States that are supported by clean energy, and about 150,000 that are supported by coal. So Clean Power Plan is pushing us in a certain direction, direction that leads us away from the clean energy jobs that many people are hoping to build in this country. There's implications for human health. The Clean Power Plan was anticipated to save roughly 3,600 deaths per year by the time it was completed in 2030. In addition, 1,700 heart attacks, 90,000 asthma attacks, and 300,000 lost school and work days every year. So we're saying no to all those benefits by removing the Clean Power Plan. It's also reducing our ability to hit longer-term goals that lead to climate stabilization. We have a number of areas in the United States that are vulnerable to climate change, and by saying no to the Clean Power Plan, we are saying yes to those damaging effects of climate change. So the Paris Agreement was a global agreement struck in late 2015 across all countries of the world, where all countries agreed to set national targets by which they would reduce their emissions or otherwise address climate change in their own national context. The U.S. was a leading country in the push to get the Paris Agreement, and it was a good agreement for the United States of America. It was a way that we could contribute our own national targets, which help our own environmental, health, and economic goals, but also do it in a coordinated way with countries around the world. Climate change is a global problem. We do need countries around the world to contribute to the solution of that problem, and Paris allowed us probably the best architecture as a way to get there. The recent actions by the Trump administration, including the rollback of the Clean Power Plan, mean that the United States is less likely to hit its target for example, 2025. We like energy independence in this country. It's an element of this administration's priorities. A very reasonable way to advance energy independence is to use the bounty of wind and solar energy, for example, that we have to advance those technologies in the places where we have been blessed with those resources. And this administration could, as it thinks about how to enhance the infrastructure that we have here, think about how to build those technologies out aggressively and actually generate jobs and economic activity as a result.